Oh, yeah, baby. An opening day victory for the Cleveland Browns, plus a great weekend for the Guardians as well. They sweep the Minnesota Twins, now only dealing with the White Sox. Well, they're still going to have to deal with the Twins. But today's show, except for a couple minutes at the end, is all about an opening day victory. Enough with the stupid stat of opening days. Enough with Baker Mayfield. Okay, he had his moments, but you know what? It wasn't good enough, Baker. Sorry. See ya. It's the bullpen with Adam the Bull.
Podcast is not for the faint of heart.
And I do think it's time for the Browns to move on.
It's not for those who ride the fence.
He's proven nothing.
But if you're looking for someone who tells it like it is about Cleveland sports,
Everybody does fandom their way.
you've come to the right place.
I don't think he's any good.
It's time for the Bullpen with Adam the Bull.
Yes, indeed. This edition of the Bullpen is brought to you by Bet Online. Bet Online has you covered this season with more props, odds, and lines than ever before. Bet Online, where the game starts. And the game starts right here with a Kade York 58-yard field goal. Who says that was terrible to draft that kicker? Not me. Maybe I kind of did. But it doesn't matter because in the end, Kade York gets it done. The 58-yarder to win it. Woo! And it pulled. Listen, let's face it. The Browns blew this game. They had a huge lead. They let it get away. But in the past, they would have kept blowing it. And all we would have heard today is, oh, same old Browns, same old Browns, same old Browns. They lose to Baker. Not this time. This time, Jacoby Brissett made just enough plays in that final drive. And Kade York knocked it home from 58. I don't care about bad calls, bad penalties, nothing. It's all part of the game. These things happen. Suck it up. Whine to someone else. Baker Mayfield, not good enough. I give him credit. He played all right in the fourth quarter. He made some big throws, got some guys open. Browns took the foot off the gas. This has got to end. We can't have this nonsense with giving away big leads. Baker was playing like absolute hot trash for 3 quarters. I give him credit that he played well. He led them down to the game, the go-ahead field goal, but it wasn't enough. Baker's not good enough. And in the end, listen, Jacoby Brissett, I got to calm down. I'm so worked up. There's so much to get to. Jacoby Brissett, he's not that good. We had to carry him through. The running game was magnificent. But, listen, I guess I could go on a huge gloating parade. The bottom line is Baker did all right. And I'm not going to kill him. I have a lot of fun with it. And I'll probably kill him on the TV show. He played awful in the first half, but he is what he is in the end, what he is. And why the Browns had to move on is because he's not good enough, and it's that simple. Now, Jacoby Brissett's not good enough either. Fortunately, he's only quarterbacking for 11 games, but he played just well enough to win, missed some passes. Deshaun Watson plays this game, Browns probably win it by 30. We can't take our foot off the gas in the end, but this is not college football. Style points don't matter. All that matters is check off a win in that column. That's it. Browns are 1-0. Ravens 1-0. Steelers 1-0. Although they had a huge injury. TJ Watt may be done for the year. Bengals 0-1 in that crazy game with the Steelers. Start with some of the good things. All right? A lot of good things. Let's start with the running game, which was absolutely magnificent as expected. I said I wanted to see 40 touches from Kareem Hunt and Nick Chubb, and we got close to it. 38 total. Nick Chubb with 22 carries. Can't complain about Nick Chubb not getting the ball. He carried it 22 times, had 1 catch as well, so 23 touches for Nick Chubb. 141 yards on the ground. That's almost 6.5 yards per carry. He was beautiful. Kareem Hunt into the end zone twice, 11 carries, 4 catches, a total of 15 touches for 70 yards. With 2 touchdowns. Again, 1 rushing and 1 receiving. Anthony Schwartz played a role in this game, had the big catch on the final drive. Give him credit. He had the 1 drop early in the game. Then he had 2 running plays where he got 20 yards and got 1 first down. And then on that final drive, he makes the big 19-yard catch. It was huge. Hopefully it builds up his confidence. Donovan Peoples-Jones, I thought, played a really good game. The offensive line overall did an excellent job. Jacoby Brissett was only sacked once. And so that was good. I mean, they really, they pass blocked well. They ran block well. I mean, the Browns offense should have had a lot more points. They don't have a very good quarterback, and that's why they end up with 26 and have to pull that out on a late field goal. Part of it is the defense. It was so weird because the defense was dominating for most of this game. I mean, through 3 quarters, the Panthers had 7 points, And they only had one really good drive, and then they were stifling McCaffrey, who averaged only 3.3 yards per carry on the ground. Only had 4 catches and 1 long grab on that final drive. But overall, he was not a huge factor in this game. Neither was DJ Moore, who had just 3 catches for 43 yards, 50 yards total, including a rushing play. But they let Baker get that run for the touchdown when the C's parted there. And I thought the defense, you want to blame Joe Woods, you want to blame the players, whatever it is, you can't have that every game. We can't let it get away in the fourth quarter. The defense played terribly in the fourth quarter. But throughout the game, some good performances. I thought Myles Garrett did what he had to do. 2 sacks, 3 tackles for a loss. Jadeveon Clowney was knocking Baker's throws. I mean, how many throws did they bat away? 5, 6, 7. I mean, they caused a lot of problems for him. So some good performances there. 4 sacks total for the Browns. 4 guys had a half a sack, and Myles Garrett had the 2. Almost had the strip sack. He should have had that ball. I don't know what happened there. But overall, just a tremendous performance to get the win. That's it. It wasn't perfect. I say tremendous performance. It was a tremendous performance by the running game. 3 good quarters from the defense. But I think 2 areas you were really concerned about. Defensive tackle, I thought those guys held up well. I thought, Jacob Phillips played a solid game. Taven Bryan got called for that penalty. I don't know if you want to say it's a bad call or a bad rule, whatever. It's unfortunate. He made a nice play there. I thought they did fine in the middle. And the receivers, I think, overall played well. I mean, it wasn't much of a game for Amari Cooper, but 6 for 60 for Donovan Peoples-Jones. Schwartz contributed when necessary. And the rookie Bell, I don't know what happened. He wasn't in the game. He wasn't in the mix. No targets. I don't even know how much he played. I don't remember him being out there at all. Again, some mistakes by the defense late, but overall, you got to be happy because now that stupid stat about the Browns' record on opening day games, yeah, it's still a bad record since they came back in '99, but they got the victory. And, don't love the idea of drafting a kicker as high as the Browns did, but I said all along, listen, I think this guy looks good, but until he does it in the games, it don't matter. I don't want to hear about his kicks in practice. Well, if you want to be with the big boys, you got to make the big kicks. And his first opportunity, he came through in fine fashion. I mean, in your NFL debut, to make a game-winning 58-yard kick, not only a game-winning, but knowing that if you miss it, that you lose. It's not like that it was a tie game, which obviously if you come in to kick a game-winning field goal in a tie game, there's a lot of pressure there. But if you come in to kick a game-winning field goal in a tie game as a rookie, there's even more pressure. And if you come in to kick a field goal to win the game when you're losing, there's even more pressure. And if you come in to kick a game-winning field goal when if you miss, you lose, and you're a rookie, there's even more pressure. And if you come and kick a game-winning field goal that you lose if you miss, and it's a game winner, and you're a rookie, and it's your first NFL game, and you're playing for a team that has not won a regular season opener in forever, then the pressure is immense. And yet, Kade York came through. That was it. So we can lament all the things we didn't like in the game. But I'm all over the place here because it's just flowing through me here. But let's focus back on I'm going to take a break, and then I want to focus back up on the running game specifically because I got a lot to say about what Nick Chubb and Kareem Hunt did and are going to need to do to get this team where they need to be leading up to Deshaun Watson coming back. That's all coming up. First, I want to talk to you about Bet Online, betonline.net, your number one source for all your pro and college football betting needs and sports info this season. Find all of the latest football league developments, game matchups, news, and podcasts, including this year's opening week games. BetOnline is also your continued source for all your sports wagering information, including live betting, esports, and scores. The fastest and easiest way to check in on all your favorite sports and events, including MLB, MMA, boxing, and golf. Head to the website today or use your mobile device to learn more about the trends and action. BetOnline, where the game starts. Let's talk more about Nick Chubb, because I can't talk enough about Nick Chubb and how much I love this guy. If Nick Chubb stays healthy and plays at the level he's playing at for another few years, I mean, this guy is on track. Again, careers go off the cliff quickly. Guys who look like Hall of Famers go off the cliff, and it hasn't happened. But he's on a Hall of Fame pace, I believe. That's how much I think of Nick Chubb. Nick Chubb is basically the perfect football player. He does everything well. Yes, they don't throw him the ball much. And so I can't, he's not elite at that because he doesn't do it much. But he's a great pass protector. He is in terms of running the football, I would put him up with anybody, and that includes Derrick Henry, Christian McCaffrey. I don't care who you throw, Joe Mixon, Dalvin Cook, Alvin Kamara. I don't care who you throw at me, Jonathan Taylor, who was the leading rusher last year. I'll take Nick Chubb on my team over anybody when it comes to just running the football. Okay? And another thing, you cannot get under Nick Chubb's skin. You cannot bother him. You cannot irritate him. Well, maybe you do, but you'd never know it. In these clutch moments, in these big spots, one mistake, one penalty, one loss of frustration can cost you. We've seen it for the Browns. We've seen it across the league. How many times I've seen Nick Chubb get hit late when he's down, because Nick Chubb frustrates the hell out of the defense. He punishes them. He breaks tackles all the time. He's always fighting for that extra yard. Always. Never goes down easy. Never. Literally never goes down easy. He doesn't talk trash. He doesn't showboat. He doesn't do this feed me nonsense. He doesn't do any of this nonsense. And it's fine if you do it. I'm just saying he doesn't do it. None of it. He never gets outwardly angry. Guys are taking shots at him. Guys are pushing him. Guys are jumping on him late. It doesn't matter. Drops the ball, goes back. He gets his revenge by kicking your ass. Play after play after play. The man, I would say he's a great human being. I don't know him personally. It would kill me if he's not. I mean, I've met him a time or two, but not on any kind of personal level, just in a group interview session. From all accounts, he is a great guy. I know people I know someone that lived in the same building that he did at one point, and they were like, "Oh my God, he was like so nice." I don't even know. I want him to be the greatest human being ever. I'm hoping he is. It seems like he is. He is so likable. He is the most likable guy. I loved his Instagram video showing some personality there before the game. Can I do more? Can I do more? There's really not. What else can we ask for Nick Chubb? He does whatever you ask of him. There's no complaints. There's nothing. And I can't remember who said this on our postgame show yesterday. And if you missed the postgame show, where were you? We jumped on G. Bush, Mikey McNuggets, Jeff Lloyd, and I was on a little late because I was having some technical issues. But we jumped on right around the 2-minute warning of the game. I was on live when the Browns kicked the game-winning field goal. I kind of went nuts there for a minute. I did not go nuts on Baker because Baker did kill my ripping him thunder by playing well in the fourth quarter. That was unfortunate, even though it still wasn't good enough, and he's not very good. And he easily could have had 4 turnovers in the first half, and the pick he threw was an absolutely horrible throw. But because he played well in the fourth quarter, I couldn't crush him too much at the end of the game. But I mean, I just could talk about Nick Chubb all day. What's there to say? And Kareem Hunt sometimes gets forgotten. But it was good to see him, again, I wanted 25 touches from Nick Chubb, which is a lot. He had 23, 22 carries, phenomenal. Kareem Hunt, 15 touches, 11 on the ground, 4 through the air. I can't ask for much more there. I'd like to see David Njoku and Amari Cooper get a little more involved. They only targeted Njoku once. Cooper was targeted more. And listen, here's the negative. Jacoby Brissett's not a very good quarterback. But this is not news, folks. We knew he was a very good quarterback. With quarterbacks all the time you hear, he can make all the throws. Jacoby Brissett cannot make all the throws. Now, he didn't turn it over. Came close a couple times, but he didn't turn it over. And that was, one of the big keys. And in the final drive, he made a couple of big throws. DPJ, Schwartz, yes, good plays. Now, I'd like to say I need him to play better. 4.3 yards per attempt is terrible. 18 of 34 is terrible. I got to ask him to do a little more, but he can't do much more. He is a backup quarterback for a reason. And you could con yourself into believing Jacoby Brissett's a good quarterback. He ain't. I'm not going to be a phony. I wasn't a phony about Baker. Baker's an average quarterback. He played a bad game for the most part yesterday. I thought the Browns needed to get better. Jacoby Brissett is the choice right now. You have no other options. They're not playing Joshua Dobbs. Stop with that nonsense. Brissett's going to play. You got to hope he plays a little better. It could be a little more accurate, but he's never been an accurate quarterback, just like Baker's never been an accurate quarterback. Neither is Jacoby Brissett. But he missed there were 2 plays early in the game that could have been long touchdowns if you had a decent quarterback. And if you had Deshaun Watson, again, I think the Browns probably score 40-something points in this game. But, as I always say, not college football. It doesn't matter. Defensively, I'm not sure who I'm blaming here, whether it's Kevin Stefanski, whether it's Joe Woods, whether it's the individual players. I mean, there was some head scratching. Again, the defense looked like they had, for the most part, completely shut down Baker, completely shut down McCaffrey, and then the fourth quarter they give up 17 points, and you're like, what is going on here? The defense was very poor in the fourth quarter. That's inexcusable. And this team has done this a lot. Even in games that they've won, they've kind of let the other team back into it late. And this would have had, that's the good news, right? Is as bad as the defense played in the fourth quarter, as bad as Jacoby Brissett was, they still found a way to win it. This is a lot of times in the past they would have lost this game. And had they lost this game, can you imagine the Baker Bros would have been crowing because he played well in the fourth quarter, and we would have been just destroyed because this was a game they should have never let get away. They let it get away, and then they got it back. Thankfully, they had a good kicker because if this was last year, they would have lost the game without a kicker. So right now, I'll give my man Jake Crawford credit, even though he's still obsessed with Baker. Credit Kade York. Great start. Specifically on defense, I thought Myles Garrett would have a monster game. I think when we watched the film and when it all is said and done, I think Myles Garrett had a pretty good game. You'd like to see him get more than two sacks. We're getting greedy, right? Because 2 sacks is pretty good. I'd like to see him jump on top of that second sack on back-to-back plays. And give the Browns the ball back there. It didn't happen. I thought overall he played well. I thought overall the defensive line played well. The Browns were very good in the trenches. There's not a lot to be, the things that went poorly, Brissett's play, you had to expect. And then the other thing that went poorly, the fourth quarter defense, we've seen it. We can't have that. That's something that we can't see going forward. The Browns need to win at least 3 of their first 4 games. And, the Steelers, obviously I watched that game against Cincinnati. Their offense looked terrible. Now, the defense was very opportunistic. However, it was T.J. Watt was wreaking havoc with the Bengals. And looks like he's going to be out for the season. The Steelers will not be the same team defensively. So I'm expecting the Browns to go win 4 in a row here. But that's my expectation, even with Jacoby Brissett, especially now without T.J. Watt. That game, which was not easy, I think is easier, assuming he is out for that game, which looks very likely at this point. I don't know if it's officially been confirmed, the injury. It's a devastating injury, and it kills their defense because he and Hayward make that defense go. Joe Burrow turned the ball over 5 times, and they still, if the Bengals' long snapper doesn't get hurt, the Bengals probably win that game because they had an extra point blocked at the end of regulation that would have given them the game. But their long snapper gets hurt. It's not a good snap, and so it takes too much time, and that's why the kick got blocked. Same thing happened with the field goal, the first Bengals opportunity, and the Steelers end up winning. But they didn't. I was not impressed. I mean, again, T.J. Watt was magnificent. I thought he was overrated at times. He did not look overrated. I got to admit, first game of the year, T.J. Watt was much more dominant than Myles Garrett, and T.J. Watt was playing against a much better offense than Myles Garrett was. So kudos to Watt, but now his season is sunk, and without him, I think they're going to be still a good defense, but not as dominant. Their offense can't make up for it. Trubisky looked awful. Their running game is nothing. Najee Harris did nothing in the game because the offensive line's not any good. So the Browns have to take advantage of their early season schedule that has just gotten easier. You're home with the Jets, home against the Steelers, and at the Falcons. The Browns, I think, we've said this, that they got to go at least 3-1. Well, now with the Watt injury, and that game only being 11 days from now, 10 days from now, 10 days from now, because they're playing Thursday night. The Browns need to take care of business in these two home games. There is no excuse to lose to the Jets and Steelers at home. And if they can get off to that 4-0 start, well, then they have some leeway when the schedule gets a lot tougher. And fortunately, the Charger and Patriot games to start the tougher part of the schedule are both at home. Then things get much tougher after that. But that's why even though it made you crazy that they blew the lead and almost let it get away, it's huge in the end. All that matters is that they got the win. And if they clean up this fourth quarter letdown by the defense, and if Jacoby plays just a little bit better, I'm not expecting him to be much better, but a little bit better, a little more accurate, a little better with his decision-making, they're going to continue to dominate on the ground. There's no reason to believe they won't do it. I don't care who they're playing. I don't care what their game plan is. They got Jacoby throwing enough to keep the defense honest, and they just ran roughshod. The Browns are too good in the running game and too good on defense when they're focused. Again, some big lapses in the fourth quarter that I don't think anybody can stop either of those units consistently. It'll be, again, when you're playing the better teams, when they start to play when they play the Chargers and Tampa Bay and the Bengals and the Ravens, things will get tougher there. The Dolphins and the Bills, of course. But if you can get to that point 4-0, it's going to be huge. That's a lot. I mean, I guess it's a lot to ask to start 4-0, but the Browns are going to be favored in in their next three games. There's no doubt. So take care of business. And if you're 4-0, we talked about it. They got to be 6-5 after 11 games to have a reasonable shot at the playoffs. They might need to go 7-4. Well, the only way they got any kind of chance to go in 7-4 is if they start this season 4-0. And to do that, the running game is going to have to be great. There's no reason it wouldn't be. The defense is going to have to be great. It was for 3 quarters. It needs to be for 4 quarters. And now we can move on from all this Baker drama. Yeah, we'll keep an eye on how he's doing from week to week, just because people are interested. But for the most part, we move on. It's no longer about Baker. He's in Carolina. He'll continue to be mediocre. They won't win a ton of games. And now we focus and we eventually turn the page to the Jets. So you're going to have Joe Flacco going. We know he's not any good. And, the Jets lost their first game. 24-9, got absolutely demolished by the Ravens. Their offense, Joe Flacco threw the ball 59 times. It was kind of a crazy game, but a lot of it in garbage time. It was 24-3 at the end of 3 quarters. So again, no excuses here going forward. None. I got some final thoughts on the Browns. I'll spend a minute or two on the Guardians, who had a great weekend. The controversy I stirred up with the Buckeyes, that and more all coming up right here in the bullpen with Adam the Bull. But first, got to talk about Sleeper. Sleeper, the fastest growing fantasy platform today with the NFL season kicking off. Sleeper is climbing the charts with over 4 million plus users. In addition, they just launched 22 new features. How about that? Including over-unders integrated into fantasy. The first sports contest game built into the fantasy experience. Not only can you enter a contest via over-under itself, but you can also do so through your fantasy league's matchup screen. All right? This is great. People are excited about this. It's super simple. First, in any sport, choose 2 or more players that you like and pick the over-under. For example, rushing yards in football. Right? Rushing yards or number of points in basketball. Then choose the amount of money you want to enter into the contest. If you pick correctly, you can win anywhere from 2 to 20 times the money you put in. The main reason I'm excited about Over Under on Sleeper is that it's the only app where I can join my friends' contests and play together. It's got a built-in group chat where I can see and copy my group picks with a tap of a button, talk trash, a lot of fun. So stop what you're doing and download Sleeper now to play their over-under game. Have fun with your friends. Make some money. Sleeper.com/LockedOnBets or Sleeper.com/LockedOn today. If you use that promo code on your mobile phone or wherever, Sleeper will automatically match your first deposit up to $100. Again, go to sleeper.com/lockedonbets or sleeper.com/lockedon today. Get a $100 match on your first deposit up to $100. Terms and conditions apply. See Sleeper's terms of. All right. I've lost my microphone. Are you hearing me? There we go. I don't know if you were hearing me. I lost my microphone there for a second. So, final thought on the Browns for this week. Don't dwell on the negative that was the fourth quarter poor defense. I understand why some people would want to do that. I get it. Because it was frustrating, and we've seen it before. But what really matters is they found a way to win. Get out of that college football mentality. Speaking of which, I'll get to that in a second. Focus on the positive. Yes, there are things to be concerned about. The coaching staff needs to button things up here. First of all, you know me, folks. I love being aggressive. I love going for it on fourth down. I like that they went for it on fourth down on that first drive where they didn't get the first down, but I thought it was a good decision. I don't know what Kevin Stefanski was doing at the end of the first half because for me, score position, I always want to go for it, except that situation. In that situation, with time running out, I got to kick a field goal. I can't go for it for the 7-yard line. Now, the Panthers ended up calling timeout for some reason, and then the Browns changed their mind. And I thought to myself, well, my first thought was, well, maybe they were trying to draw them off sides, but that didn't make any sense because it was 4th and goal from the 7-yard line. So even if they drew them off sides, it's not a first down. And they're still, at the 3.5-yard line? So you're not going to go for it then. Didn't make any sense. They got bailed out. Again, I don't know what Stefanski was thinking there. And nobody wants to go for it more than I do. On fourth down, I don't like punting. I don't like kicking field goals. But in that time, you should. I don't know what he was doing. So he got bailed out by Carolina. And the way the defense fell apart in the fourth quarter, not good. That's got to be buttoned up. But besides that, you got the win. That's important. If they can correct the mistakes going forward, then it will be irrelevant that they don't let this one get away before coming back to win. Because if we see the defense dominating, the running game dominating, the Browns rattling off some wins, then we can say, first game, they let it get away, but they learned from it, moved on. If it continues to be a trend, then we'll bring this one up again. But if it doesn't, then we forget about it, and all we know is they won, and that's what matters. Unlike college football, where I stirred the pot this weekend by saying, I just don't love college football. I'm sorry. For some reason, this got so many people upset. I said I wasn't going to watch the Buckeye game because they were playing a nothing team. They won in blowout fashion. I don't care. We're not going to talk about it this week because it's a meaningless game. So what do I got to watch it for? When they play good teams, I'll watch it. But I don't love college football, so I'm not going to watch a game where I know Ohio State's going to win by 30, 40 points. And I'm not going to do it just because people think I should. And I don't know why anybody got mad that I said I don't love college football. Doesn't mean you can't love it or that it's not a great game. I just don't love it. And so I'm not going to watch a game against some nothing team where they have no chance to lose. It's pointless. And finally, I just want to give the Guardians a couple of minutes here. Great weekend. They needed it because obviously the White Sox are playing very well. Although, it was huge because the White Sox are playing great baseball, although they did lose yesterday. And we're in a situation now, a 3-game sweep of the Twins was huge. Their bats were ice cold coming into this weekend, and they got the job done. There were some shaky moments late over the weekend in the bullpens, but they found a way to get it done. Karinchak closed the game yesterday. Guardians now 8 games over 500, 2.5 up on the White Sox, and 4.5 up on Minnesota. Remember, they were a 1.5 up on both going into the weekend. They sweep the Twins, got the big 5-game series with them, wrap around next weekend with a doubleheader, playing the Angels next, got to take advantage. The Guardians, we talked about it, don't panic when they're doing poorly, up and down all year. Now the bats have gotten going. They pitched well over the weekend, and now you got to take advantage of an Angel team that's not very good. Let's avoid pitching to Mike Trout. He's red hot right now. But again, big wins over the weekend. Needed that sweep badly. Needed the bats to get cooking badly. And they are in good shape to get to the playoffs. Long way to go. Still got a number of games with the Twins. Still got 4 games with the White Sox. And that's going to be big because the White Sox, like I said, outside of yesterday, playing great baseball. They're going to be a threat down the stretch. I don't think they're going to go away quietly. And those games are going to be a challenge. But the Guardians play the Angels, as I said, start of a set 3-game series. The homestand, they need it. Big homestand. 3 with the Angels, 1 with the White Sox, and then 5 with the Twins before going to Chicago for a 3-game road trip there. Make sure you are locked in to the Ultimate Cleveland Sports Show on Monday. Make sure you are subscribed to the YouTube page where you get the Ultimate Cleveland Sports Show and this podcast. Make sure you are locked in to Locked On Browns. You subscribe to them as well. Check me on Twitter. Check me out on Cameo. Check out my website, adamthebull.com. I'll talk to you tomorrow. Where else but right here in the bullpen with Adam the Bull. See ya.